Hello, my name is Cecilia Dobbs-Walton, and I am the Public Affairs Specialist for the City of Biloxi. I am here to deliver today's Be Prepared report. This is being recorded on Thursday, May the 28th, 2020 at 3:30 in the afternoon. Today, the Mississippi State Department of Health reports that in the past 24 hours, 328 new cases of the coronavirus were identified throughout the state. The department also reports 23 new deaths. This chart shows the overall total since the crisis began. This chart shows the daily comparison of new cases reported in the state over the past 14 days. In Harrison County, there were 2 new cases reported in the past 24 hours and no new deaths. This chart shows the 14-day trend in Harrison County. In Jackson County, there were 3 new cases of the coronavirus identified and no new deaths. No new cases or deaths were reported in Hancock County. And now this.
Joining me now is Keith Crosby, the General Manager of the Palace Casino Resort. Hello, Keith.
Vince, how are you?
I'll bet you are just so ecstatic that you were able to open those doors.
2 months was a long time to be closed without our associate back at work or our customers. So yeah, we were glad to see both groups.
I'm glad to hear how you said that. You said your associates first.
You know, our whole program, going back to the beginning in '92, this was about jobs and taxes in that order. So, you know, it's pretty easy to worry about them first, and in our culture where I work, it starts with them.
What steps have you taken in the Palace?
Well, I'll tell you, the whole industry had really coalesced around the effort. There was great leadership from Jackson, great leadership from our executive director of our association. So when the guidelines were issued by the state, they were fairly clear, easy to follow, and you know, you can go overboard. And in our case, we tried to go overboard. Cleanliness is you know, one of our primary. We're known for being smoke free. We're known for being extremely clean. So it was pretty easy for us to just step it up a little bit.
I see a notice right here. I had my temp checked today.
Correct, and I'll give you an idea how pervasive it is at our place. This, you would think, would be the marketing people. This is my director of engineering's idea.
And so what are you doing? You're checking?
When you check in, there's a time clock here and a temperature check on the
for
wall
employees.
Right, so that every single person who walks in is checking their temperature and they get a sticker. So we know, we're able to monitor our own people's health. I can't really protect the adults from each other. They've got to behave like adults.
Right.
We've been as suggestive as we can be about it. I'm amazed at some of the people that aren't taking precautions. You kind of wonder how they got that old.
You're terrible. I know. And it all goes back to personal responsibility, as it does in so many things in life.
Precisely. And this, you know, the bottom line is when we first realized that we had the time was short there, we might get a chance to reopen the businesses. From the governor straight through to the executive director of the Gaming Commission, the word was, guys, you've got to get through phase 1. You've got to crawl before you can walk. So let's do everything we can to execute this the best we can. And that's what everybody's trying to do.
We have been really fortunate that a lot of the cases we see are in other parts of the state, and good for our local residents, but the governor, we realize, has to look at the entire state when he makes his decisions. But you can't just be more proud of the residents here of the Gulf Coast.
No, I think everybody here has done an outstanding job. I think we're an anomaly when you consider the rest of the country and the rest of the region. There's no question about it. But for instance, in our business, the day before the shutdown, we were worried about getting air programs in here, getting people from out of the area, attracting new visitors to the city. The governor and the mayor's made a heck of an effort to try to do that. So right away you're saying, hey, you know what? There's a likelihood we're going to have people coming from other areas. We've got to be prepared for that. We hope to God that they're paying attention. And I think what you're seeing, at least I talk to people in Atlantic City and folks where I've worked before, that's a completely different ballgame. I mean, there's people I spoke to a gal the other day who said, you know, I've been in my house for 5 weeks. I haven't been able to leave. I'm afraid to leave. And she said, Keith, you and I know the same people. They've died. We don't have that here. That hasn't happened to us. And I really appreciate the fact that the governor's taken a pretty solid stand on let's keep our advantage ahead of us because we can get past this quicker.
Now, the mayor has referred to this as a buyer's market because Mississippi, the gaming industry, we kind of jumped out there in front of everybody. What's your take on this and where we position ourselves today?
You know, it's interesting. I saw an article day before yesterday concerning the Vegas operations, talking about, well, we're going to need 7 to 10 days to get moving again. And I appreciate the size of the properties, but I sent a note to the rest of the industry and said, well, maybe we need to show them how to do it.
But we have a totally different market from them because, you know, I was reading the other day, on an average day in Las Vegas, before all of this, 70,000 people got off of a plane.
Correct.
Every day.
Correct.
Now, how many people you think are going to be flying?
Well, that's geography. Geography works to our disadvantage at times, and in this case, for instance, with the virus, geography is working in our favor because we have had no problem with the people from that way.
From the south.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Now, you've been in this industry here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We're going close to 30 years, back from the very beginning.
It's hard to believe.
How does it is. How does this rank with everything you've seen, and you've seen a lot?
You know, honest to God, I think I was here 9 days before we evacuated the first time. And I can't even remember how many times it's been since then for hurricanes or tropical depressions. Katrina was obviously the worst. I don't think it can get any worse. I got my folks together the day we closed and said, well, here we go again. It's just a different reason. But the reality is, if you're a business that's regulated like ours is, that has to live within a mandated framework, having the experience of this is a good thing. And I think you saw it when the reopening took such a short amount of time, from the governor suggesting one day that we were going to do it, in fact telling us the next day that we could do it. Gaming Commission was immediately out there with the guidelines, and bang, everybody was on board.
Now, I have to confess, I follow you a little bit on Facebook, and it seems to me that you've done just a little bit of traveling in this period.
Yeah, well, prior to this. Unfortunately, the last 2 months, we were busy at our place, so there was no getting out of Dodge. But you're right, before that, I was out recruiting customers.
Tell Mr. Lowe that.
Right.
And I guess your ownership has stepped up and been there all the way?
Again, it's our culture. The comments from the boss are always the employees first. You make sure you take care of your folks, make sure you take care of the customers. And take care means worry about them.
What are your final thoughts for the people who are watching this about where we are today and where we're headed? Look into that camera and tell them.
Well, you know what? Again, I was here at the beginning of this process for my industry. I know why we did it.
And by the way, you mean the beginning of this process for the coronavirus or gambling?
Gambling.
Okay.
In 1992, you know, there wasn't traffic lights in some places, and there was no street lights on Highway 90.
Or police cars or fire trucks.
We needed to generate taxes. We needed to generate tourists. We needed to develop our own stable industry in Biloxi. We've got it. I think its vigor and its strength is being proven again. That, you know, regardless of what the obstacle is, though I really don't like locusts, I think we'll overcome this. Not being dominated by the big properties is a real advantage here, because the smaller independent properties are nimbler. We're able to react quickly, adjust to the marketplace, adjust to the environment, and adjust to what our customers need. Right now, the issue is rebuilding confidence in our customer base that it's safe to come here, which it absolutely is, and I think we're going to have to prove that, and that's a fair deal.
I think when they look at our numbers and they see how we flattened that curve, and that's a testament to the operators, that's a testament to the public, and yes, to our visitors. I got to tell you, I remember, and I know you do too, right after Katrina, maybe a year after, the gaming numbers were through the roof, the business was through the roof, and I got to tell you, I'm seeing the mall and what Terry Powell's saying up there. I saw Memorial Day weekend, and you think, gee, is this good or bad? I think it's excellent. What do you think?
I'll tell you what. I talked to somebody this morning, and they asked, and the numbers are out. And it was a good weekend. But I said to him, you know, that's kind of like asking me how you like the cake before you blew out the candles. that what we need to focus on, and I know my colleagues are too, is the sustainability of this first phase so we can get to the second phase. We want to go from 50% of whatever it is we got right now to 75%, prove we've got it, and get to 100.
Well, one of the great things about that industry is ever since it's been here in Biloxi, it's been very responsible, it's been very civic-minded, and I think that's a testament to you from being one of the first ones.
Well, I appreciate it. Honestly, the environment that we operate in here in Biloxi and in the state is probably the best I've ever been exposed to. And I've been in Jersey and Iowa and worked in a couple other jurisdictions. Everybody's partnered here. We're all in this together. It is something that applied before this COVID thing, and I think you're seeing the effectiveness of our response as evidence of the fact that, you know, we can all work together. Our goals are all the same. It's just some of us have different ways of getting there, which is fine. As long as we're all playing on the same field, we're good.
Mayor Gilly said that in the Biloxi plan was that, all right, here's what our goals are. How you get there, he told the business community, let's see some ingenuity. Right. And I think we've seen it.
Well, I agree. And there's been, you know, if there was obstacles, everybody's done what they can to eliminate them or cooperatively work together or explain. We communicated with the Department of Health 2 days after we closed and said, here's what we're thinking about doing when we come out the other end of this. How's that sound? The dialogue was professional, it was cooperative. We want you back open. So, you know, it's been good all the way around.
Well, I wish you the best and continued success.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Please remember, while things continue to open up and we all partake in the exciting amenities of the Gulf Coast, we are still in a pandemic and we still need to take precautions. Follow CDC guidelines and stay home if you are sick. That's the message for today. We leave you today with a row along the Mississippi Sound with some of the beautiful pelicans that we share the Mississippi Gulf Coast with. We'll see you here again tomorrow.